All right, everyone, let's talk about something we all think we know about friendship. We all ask ourselves at some point, what are friends for? It's a classic question. But what if I told you that the best, most complete answer to that question was written down over 2,000 years ago? That's right, we're diving into Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, and he gives us this incredible way to look at our relationships that, honestly, is going to challenge how you see your own social life.
So, let's start with a big question, and I want you to really think about it. Look at your own friends. Why are they your friends? Is it because they're useful, maybe they help you study, or they have a car? Or is it because they're just fun to be around? Or is it something deeper? Are you friends with them simply for who they are? This distinction is the absolute heart of what Aristotle wanted to figure out. You see, for Aristotle, this wasn't just a side topic. He believed friendship, or philia as he called it, wasn't just some nice-to-have bonus feature in life. Nope. He argued it's absolutely essential for achieving what he called eudaimonia. Now, eudaimonia is a huge concept. It doesn't just mean happy, like you had a good day. It means flourishing, thriving, living the best, most complete human life possible. And Aristotle's radical claim is that you literally cannot achieve that without friends. So that's a pretty bold claim, right? Let's get into why he thinks it's so important. In this first part, we're going to see that for Aristotle, friendship is way more than just a social connection. He actually thinks it's a kind of virtue itself, or at least something you can't separate from virtue. It's right at the core of what it means to be a good person. So why this huge emphasis? Well, first off, he says it's just necessary for life. I mean, who would choose to live without friends, even if they had literally everything else in the world? They're our support system, our refuge. And think about it. We praise people for being good friends, right? It's an honorable thing. But here's the most radical point. He argued that friendship is even more important for a good city than justice. His thinking was, if everyone is friends, they'll naturally want what's best for each other. Justice is just the backup plan for when that bond of friendship breaks down. And all of this leads to his most famous and maybe most misunderstood idea about friendship. A friend is another self. Now listen, this is not a cheesy greeting card quote. Aristotle means this in a very serious philosophical way. It means that in a true friendship, your friend's well-being is tied up with your own. Their successes feel like your successes. Their pain is your pain. This idea is the master key to his entire theory. Okay, so if that's the ideal, this other self, what about the kinds of friendships we actually run into every day? Well, Aristotle, being a brilliant observer of people, broke it down into a 3-level model. Let's start with the 2 most common types, the ones that form the base of his pyramid. First up, we have the friendship of utility. This one's pretty easy to spot. The relationship is based on how useful you are to each other. You wish them well, sure, but you do it because of the advantage you get from them. The whole foundation is mutual benefit. And you know exactly what these look like. It's your study buddy for a class you hate. It's the person you network with at work. It's even, on a grand scale, how countries form alliances. Now, Aristotle isn't judging these friendships. They're a normal part of life. He's just saying we need to be honest about what they're built on. The second type is the friendship of pleasure. These are your fun friends. The person you play soccer with, the group you go to parties with, that classmate who just cracks you up. The connection is all about the shared enjoyment and the good times. The affection you feel is tied directly to the pleasure you get from being around them. Now here's Aristotle's really sharp insights. He calls both of these incidental friendships. Why? Because you don't love the person for who they are. You love the benefit they provide, or you love the fun they provide. And because those things are incidental and can change, these friendships are fragile. When the class is over, or when you get a new hobby, poof, the friendship often dissolves right along with the utility or the pleasure. So all of this brings us to the very top of the pyramid, the rare, the stable, what Aristotle calls the perfect form of friendship. This is the real deal, the one the other two are just pale copies of. Pay close attention to the words he uses here. The friendship is between people who are good and who are alike in their goodness. The whole foundation isn't what you get out of it or how much fun you have. It's a mutual respect and admiration for each other's virtuous character. And this he calls the friendship of virtue. In this kind of friendship, you love your friend for their own sake. You love them simply for who they are, for their character, their integrity, their goodness. You wish good things for them just because of the person they are, and you see something in them that you also want to cultivate in yourself. So what makes this type so special? Well, for one, it's durable, it lasts. Why? Because a person's good character doesn't change on a whim. It's complete, built on a deep trust that isn't easily shaken. But, and Aristotle is a total realist about this, he says these friendships are incredibly rare because, let's be honest, truly virtuous people are rare, and it takes a whole lot of time and shared experiences to get to know someone's character that deeply. Now, you might be thinking of these three types as totally separate boxes. But Aristotle's model is so much more elegant than that. Let's take a look at how they all fit together. This little chart lays it all out pretty clearly. You can see the direct line between the basis for the friendship and how long it lasts. The ones built on utility and pleasure, they can dissolve easily. But the one built on the solid rock of good character, that one is lasting and stable. But here's the twist, and it's my favorite part of his whole theory. Aristotle isn't saying that this high-level friendship is some boring intellectual thing. In fact, he says the friendship of virtue actually includes the other two. I mean, think about it. A truly good person is generally going to be pleasant to be around. And your true friends are, of course, incredibly useful to you. They help you, they support you, they make you a better person. But, and this is the crucial point, the pleasure and the utility are happy byproducts. They are not the reason for the friendship. The reason is the shared goodness you see in each other. Okay, let's bring it all home. We started with this big idea of eudaimonia, of living a flourishing life. So how does this all connect back? Why is this highest form of friendship not just a nice bonus, but an absolutely necessary part of that life? Aristotle's logic here is just beautiful. He says that good life isn't about just sitting around thinking good thoughts. It's a life of virtuous activity. You have to do good things. But you can't really be virtuous in a vacuum. You need a place to practice. And that's what a true friend is. They're like a mirror for your own virtue. You see their goodness, they see yours, and you practice and perfect your character together. Friendship becomes the main gym where you exercise your virtue. This all ties into what philosophers call the honest good, things that are valuable in and of themselves, not for what they can get you. For Aristotle, the friendship of virtue is the ultimate example. You value your friend for their own sake, for the good person they are. The friendship itself becomes an end, not just a means to something else. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Aristotle isn't telling us to ditch all our fun friends or our useful contacts. He's just asking us to be honest about our relationships and to strive for something more. So take a hard look at your own life. Are your friendships mostly about what you get out of them? Or do you have those friends who you value simply for their character, the ones who challenge you to be better and who you challenge in return? Because for Aristotle, finding and nurturing that kind of friendship is one of the most important jobs we have in this life.